He's ready.
Good evening, everybody. This is Scott DeCamp with CatchMark SportsNet. We're here in the podcast studio in Whitehall. This is Season 5, Episode 5 of the CatchMark SportsNet Podcast, brought to you by Chris Wenk, Real Estate of Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt. It's Monday, October 9th, 2023. And we're joined here by members of Muskegon Big Reds football team, specifically the guys who are kind of making it happen for everybody else, the guys who don't always get the attention or the love that they should, but members of the offensive line, including Coach Matt Bolles. Welcome.
How you doing?
Doing well. And seniors, Carl Brooks.
What's up?
How's it going? And senior Miguel Boteo. I think I got that right again.
Yep.
You coached me up on that before, so.
That's okay. I don't really care.
But they're coming off a really big win at Zeeland West, put them completely in the driver's seat alone for the conference title. 2 very winnable games coming up to finish it in the regular season, and then trying to embark on another long playoff run, which Muskegon is accustomed to doing. So, but before we dive into this too much further, we want to thank our sponsors. That starts with Big Stone Therapies, Rescue 2.0 LLC, Grieve Law, Edward Jones with financial advisor Brett Adkins, Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt with David Duesenberry, Farm Bureau Insurance, the Kenny Agency, 5-Star Real Estate Leaders with Matt Parker, The Birdhouse, Scheid Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, Greenridge Realty with Chris Dykman, Sarah Real, and then, of course, our title sponsor, and that is Chris Wenk Real Estate of Coldwell Banker Woodland Schmidt. If you've ever wondered what your house or property could potentially be worth in this market, just check out to Chris Wenk and his team to get you a comparable market analysis put together so you have everything you need, the data, everything, to help guide you through the process. As a real estate agent, having strong working relationships with local lenders, Chris has the upper hand in being very creative and coming up with strategic ideas for all situations presented to him and to his team during a potential purchase of a house or vacant land. He takes pride in trying to provide the best customer service for all clients and ensuring that there's always an open line communication. Being born and raised here in West Michigan, that he feels blessed to be able to call this home and to be able to work with the folks here and help people buy and sell real estate in the area he was raised. So I know our guests are ready to start talking. We're ready to feature them here. So let's start right off. We'll start with you, Carl. Just kind of introduce yourself. Say, what's your height and weight? What position you play?
I'm 6'4". I'm 327, and I play right guard.
What about you, Miguel?
I'm 6'4", I'm about 300, and I play left guard.
What about you, Matt?
I'm 6'4", and I'm about 300, and I get to coach these guys. So.
Does anyone ever call you Matt, or they just call you Bolles?
Matt, I don't hear Matt very much. I hear other stuff.
Goes with the territory, huh?
Yeah.
So, how long have you guys been on varsity, you two?
I have to say 3 years.
3 years in one game.
What was that first game like?
You might want to explain that first game.
Well, it's hard to explain it from my position because I couldn't see myself in a mirror. But from what I hear others say, I didn't look too ready.
He was a freshman, and we had some COVID stuff and some injuries. And Coach White said, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "Let's go with Miguel."
Over. Yeah, there you go.
And he was like, "Okay." And then I went and told Miguel, and Miguel about fainted. And I told him he'd be okay. And, to his credit, he learned the game plan. He learned all the plays in a week. He stayed after practice. We worked on it, because he was the right tackle on freshman. And he started all 9 games there, and then he had to go play left guard, which is 2 totally different positions in our offense. And, to his credit, he did it and played very well in the game. He didn't look like a freshman, so that's when I knew he was going to be special.
What can you say about Carl then? What's his story?
Carl was a left tackle in freshman, so he was left tackle, he was right tackle. And I always kind of thought, talking to, Coach Fairfield and Brandon at the time, that, Miguel was going to be an inside guy. And all three of us really liked Carl at tackle. And then as a sophomore, he come up, he started at left tackle, right? Yeah, left tackle against Kenwood Gas. And, other than a few things, he played well. I thought he played pretty well. So, and then he started the last 2 games, Cedar. And who was before Cedar?
Scoot up to your mic if you could a little bit. There you go. There you go. That sounds better.
In the playoffs, and he played right tackle there. I thought he played well. And then we had the realization. I just said there was something that told me, I think Carl would be a better guard. And it fits what we do because Miguel, Miguel's a sophomore, played really well, was all region. He played like how everybody's accustomed to him playing. And then Carl, I liked Miguel at left, Carl at right. We'd go athletic at tackles like it's been in the past. And it worked out to Carl's credit because he had to learn a whole new spot. He went from left tackle to right tackle to right guard, and then and Miguel himself has started at left tackle because of injuries, taking over 60 snaps at center, and he can obviously play both guards. So they're both versatile. They both can play. Carl. I think Carl's you like guard better.
Oh yeah.
I know Miguel likes guard better than tackle. Miguel doesn't like being on an island out there.
You've got some maulers, which on that topic, we're going to talk about that, obviously, in this podcast, the Get Mauled camp that you guys they run. But we're going to touch on a lot of different things. And if you guys got things you want to talk about, we can talk about that too. Just want to do a quick season recap. You guys lost 27-7 to Rockford in the opener. They trot out 100 kids or whatever on the roster. Then you lost to Warren De La Salle 40-28 in week 2 at home. But then you got it rolling. You won 5 straight. Do you think people, and this is for anybody, do you think people maybe unwisely had you dead and buried after you lost your first 2 just because they don't look at who you're playing, they look at the record, and they just look at the surface and don't look into what that means?
Yeah, I do think people did that, but it doesn't matter to me because I could care less what they think because I'm going to just do what I do and just focus on myself and the team and just kind of stay out of the outside of it because I know what's inside,
That's really what matters at the end of the day. What do you think, Carl?
I feel like, I just feel like they don't know, okay, we probably lost our first 2 games, but it just shows where we are now. It shows that, this is what we got to work on. This is what we lost. So really, I just feel like they don't know what goes on at practice and what we have to work for while we won 5 games.
It's not how you start, how you finish. And what do you think are the things that maybe you're doing now? Maybe you were doing them before, but it's, I don't know. But what are the things that you're doing now, and what do you like what you're seeing out of these guys?
I mean, we lost to Rockford, and were they 2 or 3 in Division 1 right now?
Yeah.
They are good. They're a good team. I mean, I give them credit. They've lost, 2 games the past 2 years?
Yeah,
I mean, it's Rockford.
They haven't lost like a regular season game, have they?
Yeah.
Under Cummings, maybe?
Yeah. And other than the first half against Rockford, they didn't do nothing. It was just an onslaught of offensive mistakes. And we knew going into the game if we made mistakes that could happen. They had a great defensive plan. And then we kind of tightened it. And then, the De La Salle game, the score, it was a lot closer than it's still 12 points, but the game was a lot closer than what. So the coaches knew we were going to be okay, just from our schedule, the way it lined up. Getting the Shores game out of the way, I think early may have been good for us rather than having it week 9 again, or it could have been either way. I don't know because these guys played. I mean, the whole team played lights out. And then, the Puffer game has become a bitter, it is what it is there. And we knew we were going to be good. So, and that's a testament to Coach Fairfield too, because he, that's our leader. And he makes you believe that we're good. We're good. And we've had some key guys step up. Destin's become more vocal. Makai's a great leader, obviously. Jake's a great leader. the O-line, these guys are great leaders too, but they just do it their own way. Miguel don't say much, but how many practices has he ever missed? 0. How many workouts? 0. How many classes has he ever missed? 0. Mm-hmm. That's his whole high school career. Carl, how many has he missed? 0. So when you have those kind of guys, and you have the Chris Joneses, and then you have 2 young linebackers like Jericho and AJ's, they've both matured a ton, and they're playing lights out right now. You can see it coming, and we're not even close. We're not even close to what we're gonna be. And the offense got rolling. We're becoming, just thing that is, we can throw it, we can do this, and our defense is much improved from last year, much improved. So, we're excited.
I heard in that Shores game, you were starting to already look like a different team, like not schematically or anything like that, just your intentions. Like you were coming out hitting people. Again,
Holland, God bless those, and hopefully that coach gets it turned around there, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're down 43-0 in the first quarter,
yeah.
But these guys never left the pedal. So that's a credit to them.
Yeah.
Most kids would be like, they were like, okay. And then it was Shore's game, and it was like,
yeah,
okay, we're going to be okay.
So, by the way, for anyone watching right now, we do have a comment section here. There was a guy named K. Tommy Creative. He says, you all should interview Chase Thomas from Ravenna. Moved to Ravenna from Oak Ridge before last season and became an instant star for that football team. They lost Hunter Hogan, but CT20 is still working hard. But if you got any questions for these Big Reds here, let's hear them, or any comments on them. We'd love to have them. So, looking at last week's game, 22-16 at Zeeland West at Zeeland Stadium. The weather wasn't the greatest. Obviously, both teams are playing in it. You had a weather delay. But with the history with Zeeland West and the Wing T, you guys have fared well, especially under the Fairfield regime. You guys have fared really well against Wing T teams. And what do you think the keys were? And anyone can chime in here. Keys were to getting that victory there, which was a big one.
I feel like it had, with the offense, was like just us blocking, the O-line blocking, and let the little guys in the backfield just score. And just keep blocking for them so they can just get in the touchdown and score.
I think it was hard, because as sometimes it got tough, and if we were to just quit right there and just fall apart, then we would have never won that game. But the fact that we all stayed together and held true to who we are and just kept on fighting is the reason we won that game. And like the offense hyping up the defense and vice versa, and us just staying positive, like mentally just staying positive, and not ever doubting ourselves or second guessing what we're doing, because their defense is, they do a lot of slanting in that. So sometimes if you were to miss a block, you get bummed out because it could have been a big loss, and sometimes you just got to shake it off and keep on going and just forget it happened.
I think that perseverance piece is a big part of it. I saw that mentioned a couple times after that game, maybe be in interviews or whatever, or seeing that written or whatever. But how important is that? Just because if you got a group that's resilient and going to keep coming at you, how much of a pain in the butt is that to play against when you got a team that does that?
From an offensive line point of view, we've played them. When you play a team so much, you get to know them. Just like with Shores and stuff. But it's still tough. It's multiple movements, and then it's, he'll go odd, he'll go even. That D coordinator's been with Coach Shillito for a long time, I believe, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. They still wear the old school head. How do you even get those refurbished? But he's very good. You can't. Some guys when you study, you can get a beat on them right away. Right, and they're very tendency driven and all that. This coach, he's on. You can't. So I can't go to these guys and be like, guys, listen, on third down, it's going to be this or this. I give them what they watch tape too, and they see it, and they were great this past week coming to me with stuff. Nakai, especially Nakai and Miguel, they were coming to me with like little tips they saw. So that I'm sure that helped out. this team right here you don't have to worry about them falling apart because a guy like Chris Jones is going to tighten you up. You know what I mean? And Buddy has matured a ton, and he's playing out. I mean, he's playing lights out right now. So we're not worried about that. You know, I don't worry about that with you guys, and we never have. This senior class is so true. They're so special, and we've said it I've told you for about 6 years how special this crew is going to be. And it's true. I mean, Jake Price will tighten you up. Destin is the most intense. He's a psycho, but I love going to war with him, you know, and he'll make sure you tighten up. And Mackay. I mean, Mackay will call you out too. So they all hold each other accountable. Falling apart, you never have to worry about with these guys. You know, just keeping them contained. So, you know, that's a little bit
Keeping the line in the cage.
Yeah. Sometimes
long enough.
That's
Till it's time.
Yep. And you know, I'm proud of them all. It was big. It was huge. Friday night was huge. You know, that 30-minute delay was killer.
Yeah.
So, but they guys were in the locker room. They were having fun. They were loose. We made the adjustments, and most teams, what?
I was just trying to figure out what they were doing in the locker room during the weather delay.
Oh, you guys were. It was so hot in there. I had to stand outside. You guys dancing. They had the music going. They were loose.
Yeah.
You know, and to Coach Fairfield's credit too. And back in the day, it wouldn't have been like that.
You wouldn't have let that happen.
Well, he just would have made
Make sure you're focused on the task at hand.
He's really good about reading his teams. You know, kids are different. So
yep.
You know, he lets them be who they are, but you know, he holds the line. But you know, we started off slow, second half, and then we got down. But like I told you today at film, I never once felt that we were going to lose that game. I mean, I knew you guys were going to score. I mean, we were pretty dominant up front, and we just, as long as we didn't turn the ball over, and that hasn't been sure, no, that one. But we were going to be good. So years past, you'd be like, oh man, oh no. We were good.
How much is that just from what you guys do, your mentality with workouts, everything? I mean, because you guys, nobody works harder. You know, I've seen you guys' weight room workouts, you know, in the program, its history and everything. How much does that build that mental toughness and just the discipline that's required that you guys go through? So then when you are in those tough situations in the game that you're ready for, it's not anything you haven't seen before.
It just kind of show, like, don't never give up because you know you got more in you. It's just like, well, if ever used to say, like, my last year, my junior year, don't flinch. It's just like, that's my motive and my mentality now. So, yeah.
It's like the same thing he's saying where if you go hard in the weight room, then there's nothing on the outside that can make you bat down. It's like when he says that the weight room is the only place where you can fail and still succeed. It's like that. So when we do all those hard workouts, then at the end of the day, it's making us ready for the big games like that. And so once we feel our legs getting tired, we're like, oh, we felt this before. We have another 2 reps or something like that in us. So that just keeps us going, just like that.
Yeah, there's a couple expressions I think of there. Harder that you work, the harder it is to kind of quit. You know, the harder it is to kind of relinquish anything. The other thing is the pain of discipline versus the pain of regret. Would you rather put the pain in, putting the work in the locker room and practice, not locker room, weight room, practice field, all that stuff that's required, or would you rather have to deal with the pain of, man, I wish I would have worked harder, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, these guys are amazing. I mean, you know, obviously I'm very, you know, prideful and you know, what's the word? I choose them over, you know, the other position groups, but as far as our team, they do. They work so hard, and you know, I say it all the time. The most special, hardest working gladiator in our you know school is any kid that plays football and basketball. You know, if they're a 2-sport guy, because you got I mean, to look at the two coaches you got, two head coaches you have there,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both going to run the program the way that shows to be successful.
Right.
The blueprint that they go by.
Yep.
And to be a basketball player that does the workouts with Coach Guy and then to go to Coach Fairfield's workouts in the summertime, I don't know how the guys can do it, but they're they're warriors, and it's just another example of how special Muskegon kid is. A lot of people see it, and a lot of people don't like it, and it's shame on them. If they really just sat back and just watched what these kids do, maybe it might improve their life too. So,
Maybe they don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to even consider what's going on or what they're doing. They just close their minds to it. Probably. I'm sure. So you guys are obviously in the driver's seat now for the OK Green Conference title. You got Grandpa's Union at home this Friday. Is that a senior night situation? I know you got obviously some playoff games that you'll get at home. Hopefully, maybe you can get
looks like it. Yeah, with
that.
Caledonia losing.
Yeah, that one, that Caledonia loss helped you guys for sure, I would say. But yeah, Union at home this Friday, and then you're at Wyoming week 9. But how weird is it just to think that this is your senior night already, Friday?
This is crazy. I was just talking to Miguel about it. Just knowing, like, I was watching the seniors last year, like crazy, like this is gonna be me next year. And I was saying that my freshman, like I wanted my 3 years to be done and over with. But I wish I can just go back in time and fix what I messed up in the past. So yeah.
For me, I try not to worry about those things like that, but this is kind of like a big deal because it's my last regular season home game. But then I try to look beyond myself and like the fact that this Friday is gonna be the 500 game played at Headley Stadium. And that fact alone it's crazy that there's been 500 games played at that stadium, and that 500 game is my senior night. So that just kind of adds on top of the thing that all the history and tradition that's there, and I get to be a part of it.
That's pretty special. That's crazy if you think about that. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was something that I forgot about for a second. I'm glad you brought that up, but that almost to me would. I mean, yeah, your senior night special, but that like almost
that's history.
That's
that
special.
goes down.
You're there's only one group that gets to do that. So,
I mean, think about it. A couple of weeks ago, we were in coaches meeting on Sunday, and we were reviewing the film, and I just said, "Does it seem like Miguel has been in our film for like 10 years?" Because we watched so many tapes where he's been in there, and Carl, and they all started laughing. They were like, "Yeah, you're right." Like it does feel like Miguel's been here forever, and I can't believe it's this is their senior year. I can remember when they were both sophomores, and I was standing there against the fence, going, "Man, I still got 2 more years with them." And then here we are, and we're halfway through, and we're only guaranteed one more after 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it could all be done quickly, or it could go to what the expectation is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that we said to each other last year, when our huddle before we broke down, was, "I'm not ready to be done with you guys, right?"
Yeah.
And you guys, and it's the same. It's even more this year.
As hard as it is for them, how hard is it for you? Just because they're like your sons, You gotta be. I've seen you at the state finals before. When win or lose, that's the last game. Mm-hmm. It's going to be your last game, or whether you win or lose that one. But I've seen the emotion. When you.
It's tough. Like obviously, as a coach, every kid is very special to you, mm-hmm. and these guys are because they've been with me for so long. Anthony Bradford was tough. Evan Towers was AJ Reed was tough. I mean, that whole crew, Ellis, the 2012 group, because I was new. I mean, mm-hmm. That was tough. The Corian Rosses, the Dylan Opplingers, the James Jeffrey, those Kari Wilcoxes, the Wannies and Dreekases, those guys. It's tough. You get so close to them, and then you realize that, man, they're about to become young men going off to college. And, hopefully I did everything I could to help them, prepare them. I'm not, I don't worry about our guys. especially the linemen. They're a different breed, man.
They are throughout football. Like you see it in college, you see it in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
They're just largely they're just good dudes.
Like the maturity that Anthony Bradford went through, unreal. I mean that he's got.
So since we're on that topic, how would you describe his ascent? Because obviously he was a great, highly touted player in high school. Mm-hmm. Then he goes to LSU, has success there, and now he's obviously in the NFL as a starter. And
I tell him all the time. I said, "There's some things that you do that are Bradford-ish. Like there's things that only a few guys here have been able to do physically." And Carl's one of them. If he really wants to, he's going to move you. Same with him. He's going to, but he's tenacious. Like Miguel is relentlessly tenacious and a technician, and he, he's so smart with his angles, and that's Miguel. And then he wants to crush you. Him right here, it's a bull in a china closet. And Tony was like that too. He was like these guys both. I mean, Tony he had his technique and stuff like that. But we were watching some stuff where we got here. I was showing him some stuff and where he was just wiping people out. And this, at any given time, Carl can move anybody he wants to. And it's I see Tony in him, and I see Tony in him, and then you're like, you got Nikai, who's his own, the whole different breed of tackle we've had, He's, a thinner 260-pound kid right now. He's going to be probably 280, probably 6'6", and just meaner than a junkyard dog. I'm telling you what now. So, but back to Tony. Tony was never an issue. Like there was no behavior. There was some, typical bonehead stuff that any kid would do, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing major.
Yeah.
And he got to LSU, and he walked right into probably the greatest team ever,
mm-hmm.
in college football, right? 2019 LSU. I mean, that
Burrow and those guys.
What was it? How they had 14 draft picks?
Yeah, they're just loaded.
Joe Burrow was your quarterback.
Yeah, yeah.
So, we talk. When we talk, he was just like, "Coach, I cannot believe I won a national." I said, "Nobody can ever take that from you."
Oh,
so you've won a state championship. Should have won 3. You won a national title, and then there's the big one.
Yeah.
And he's focused on that. He loves it in Seattle. He loves Coach Carroll. He said, before he got drafted, he was really wanting to go to Seattle. So for it to work out the way it did, obviously he wanted to go earlier, which every player does. And these guys were there too at Tony's party. I don't ever want to go through that again. Do you? That was one of the hardest things.
Oh,
to
yeah,
watch.
Because you're just waiting and waiting.
Oh,
and there's disappointment that creeps in, I'm sure. How can there not be?
Tony kept on walking by me.
Pacing and...
his agent was calling, and I was just patting him, and he was like... And just to see that...
yeah.
And then when you realize that the draft is over for the night, and you're not picked, I mean, I don't know. I don't know
how you could sleep. I don't know how you could sleep.
You guys are fortunate enough to... your journey is the NFL draft. Coach Bolles ain't coming to your party because that's just too much.
So, what did you guys think? Just being there with Bradford, but also having the contact with him. He came back quite a bit, as much as he could. How amazing is that to have a guy who's a bigger head, first and foremost, and then goes and has that great success at LSU, and now he's in the NFL. And I mean, how amazing is that just to have a direct line to that?
Well, I remember. I was like a sophomore. I was in the weight room and I was using the squat rack all the way in the corner before it was renovated. And I just seen this big dude walk in, head almost touching the ceiling. I'm like, Nikai, is that who I think it is? He's like, yeah, that's who it is. And I'm like, holy moly, it's Anthony Bradford. And I was fangirling. And I didn't talk to him because I was too scared. But But then last year when he came to our Sparta game, I had some contact with him, and it turns out he's a normal human. He's not God.
Isn't that amazing how that happens? Yeah, I've been around some pro athletes just from covering stuff, and that's what you find. They want to be like treated like regular people because that's what they are. They just happen to have a special gift that they're really,
Tony Bradford, he might not know it when you watch him play, but he's just a giant teddy bear, man. He wants to be friends with everybody. He wants everybody just to, watching these guys. I knew he was coming because he come up to school earlier.
Yeah.
Him and Evan Towers did, and that was pretty cool. And
but even like with them, before we move on to that next point, what about your thoughts and just being? Because I want you to be able to kind of express that too. What's that whole experience like?
It was me and Coach Bradford in the car. We were helping this old lady take off her roof for a Jeep, and we were talking about Anthony Bradford coming, and so I was just talking about it, like just weapon if it came true. I dreamed about it, and it came true the Sparker game. So, and I kind of teared up, and it was just cool just to see another person that was a Big Red that played in my position before, and it was just cool. He's my inspiration though. Like it was just a big thing for me, and it was a good moment though.
No, but you mentioned like Evan Towers too. Like so, everyone's got their own story, and they're all special. I know in their own way. Whether a guy makes the NFL or whether a guy is whatever he's doing doesn't matter. There's growth and all this stuff that goes on with all those guys. And how proud are you of all those guys, and especially how good does it make you feel when they want to come back and be part of these guys' lives too?
Evan has come back and he loves these guys. The way that his journey was, it never should happen. That's when you get emotional about because everything was stacked against him, and for him to do what he did, he went the JUCO route. He went to his first JUCO, got caught like with a weekend, catches on Independence from Netflix fame, was very successful there, and then he got picked up at Central State and walked right in and earned the left tackle spot, played outstanding, and then some NFL scouts start, with him, and then he tears his knee.
Yeah.
And you're like, and, seeing his face, talking to his mom, and then he tears it again. He tore the other knee this year. He's done. But he's got his degree. He's getting his degree. He's going to work on his master's degree. And we didn't even know if I was going to graduate for a minute there. And he proved everybody wrong. And, he's one of the greatest success stories of Big Red football. So I was super proud of him. Him and Tony are super close. Evan's been out in Seattle already to hang out with him and see him. But back to him. So they get spatted up, and he's telling me, man, Coach, it'd just be great to see. Out of nowhere, he just brings it up. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, it would be cool to see Tony. Kept on looking like, where's he? And when Tony come in the locker room, and it was like this giant walks through, and it was darker in there because we had the lights and stuff. I just remember seeing it. I knew he was coming, but still seeing him, and like he hugged, and then he walks up to Carl, and Carl got him. And I love that because you guys were what, 6th grade, 5th grade when Tony was a senior. Yeah. And Miguel didn't even play football till he was a freshman. He still doesn't even know who. I give him credit. He's starting to study more, but he didn't even play football, so he didn't know who Tony was really. Carl, he knew Tony was a little bit, but to see the respect that he had for Tony, and Tony don't walk in there.
He's not like commanding respect that way. I mean, he commands respect, but he's not like
I don't even know.
You better respect me. He's not that way.
Tony ever been in a fist fight in his life? Probably not. That's just not him. He's everybody loves him. All his teachers loved him. He's just a big gentle giant, and he very close. He's very close to Coach Fairfield. His mother is a wonderful, wonderful lady. His sisters are amazing young women, and he's awesome.
So do you guys want a break to get another water or use the bathroom or anything? Or are you guys good? Or should we keep rolling?
I'm okay for now.
All right. We'll keep it rolling then. So
I think Carl said he wanted to go down to Bone Ends and tear up about 4 slabs of ribs. But
have you been there?
no, they were.
So one of the Whitehall coaches, he's like more of a middle school coach. He runs that.
We were in talks with. They were gonna potentially sponsor Get Muled.
Wow.
Well, it was gonna be for the coaches to have, and it was just price wise, it just didn't work out. So hopefully, this upcoming year, something can happen. You guys can come back and be camp counselors and get to eat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some Bone Ends. Is it good?
It's pretty good.
I've
Yeah,
heard it's really good.
Yeah. I think my favorite's the dip. It's like a French dip type thing, but it's like I forgot what they call it again, but it's like it's like Tex. It's all Tex-Mex. Yeah, it's like a Tex-Mex type dip. It's good. All their food's like Tex-Mex.
So, okay.
That's good stuff.
Ribs and chicken.
They just fed the Whitehall team, I think, last week. So and then there's a place. I know this is kind of the rival of what you guys have with Hamburger Mikey. There's a thing called
the Gnarly Heifer.
the Gnarly Heifer. Have
I've
you
seen
been
that
there?
one, yeah.
Did you drive
I've
by?
seen it though.
Only you would know that.
The Gnarly Heifer. That's it. And I think they took a page out of the Hamburger Mikey book. It's similar. I don't want to offend the owner and say it's the same thing or offend, my guy over at Hamburger Mikey. So Tim Taylor.
He's awesome.
He's a good
I
dude.
just seen him today.
He's a good dude. He's a Whitehall guy too. He's a Whitehall alum, but he's a good dude.
He's got that long ponytail now.
Does he?
Oh yeah. The new hamburger they got now is the patty. It's the melt, and then it's macaroni and cheese. And
They put all kinds of stuff on there.
all this other stuff. How do you think of that?
I don't. Yeah.
He was like, I swear, I don't. I don't. There's no marijuana there. Like, I'm like, oh, cool.
So you guys part of that too? When the burgers with the boys.
Yeah.
So did you guys wreck that place or what?
We were only allowed one burger, so it wasn't too much damage per person. But I made sure I ran that bill up pretty
I
good.
got a question.
Could you get whatever you wanted on it though?
Yeah.
If of the 5, well, we got because Rob, and then if Mon, if all you guys, if it was a big old platter of just endless food, who could eat the most? Would it be
Monty.
Out of the start of
Monty?
no,
Isn't it usually guys you don't think of?
not Monty.
You look like Joey Chestnut and those guys who skinny. They can just eat.
It had to be Benny.
Who?
Jim or Benny? Because Jim.
Get out of here!
No,
with Jim.
I think Jim just eats one big meal and calls it for the week.
No, I
That's what I think.
I feel like Jim. I would agree with Miguel, but I feel like Jim. He's one of them guys where like he don't look like he can eat a lot, but he can eat. Benny, Benny's Benny. I don't know.
Benny is Benny. I'll give you that.
I would put my money on Miguel or Benny.
Yeah.
If you were talking to me before I was like not having no muscle, I'm up there. But now I eat. I
Old
get full
habits die
fast
hard,
food.
Carl.
So what are your go-to places you go for food?
I don't eat out much. Not that I can think of. Because my mom makes a lot of homemade food, so I kind of just rub on that when I can. But usually when I do go out, it's kind of like as a social event. It's not really as a, because I want to.
You, Carl?
Home. I don't really go out to eat really like that. My mom cooks too good, so I just stay home.
Well, that's good. I mean, it gets expensive eating out, and it's not as good as the home cooked stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, we were at Veer Camp. And the coaches went out the first, to dinner at B-Dubs. And I got 15 wings, a pop and chip. Like the chips, it was almost $40.
Do you know why? It was $1 boneless wings on that Tuesday night. Tuesday night it was a 99-cent boneless wings.
Well, this was Sunday.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Then don't ever bring up boneless wings on Coach Fairfield. Oh,
no,
no.
not a boneless wing.
Not even if they're 99 cents.
They don't know.
That's not real wings. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, what he calls them?
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken.
Nuggets or something. And then he's flats only too.
So you're a Fremont. You live in Fremont, right? Mm-hmm. Fremont guy. What about? I always bring this up. They think I'm getting paid by him. Spankies. You like it or not?
My daughters love it more than I do.
Have you had their breadsticks? Their spanky sticks?
Yeah,
Then how do you not love it as much as your daughter?
My 2 daughters, like for my daughter's birthday party several years ago, she was a baby and we had Spanky. Like it was the whole family with Spanky. So it's different now because it's just takeout. It's takeout only, and for 3 years now. So it's just not the same. It is very good though.
Well, you were talking about bone ends, and where we're going with that was you're talking about get mauled. So I think that's a good point to kind of talk about that now. How many years has that been going now, and what can you explain just to our viewers what that is?
So before these guys were even in high school, Coach Horton from Bay City, and then Coach Garrett, who's now at Canton, he was at West Bloomfield. We were just talking about having, getting the linemen more exposure. And we just kind of threw a camp together, and it ended up being at Muskegon. It was at the middle school. I think there was 40, 50 kids or whatever, because it was just an offensive lineman and some D lineman stuff. And we got after it for 2 days and kind of grew it. And then, John has his camp, War Daddy, which supports veteran brain trauma, and he turns over all the money to them. That's legit. I've seen it. And then Coach Garrett's getting ready to start his in the east side of the state, and obviously down there's a lot more teams and stuff, and that'll be a big draw. It's nothing about money, because that's why the entry fees they're rather cheap. I mean, we started off doing it was $5, and then it obviously with it gets bigger, it's got to become. But that's just to cover all the other stuff. Mm-hmm. There's no money made on those camps at all. Which whatever, but that's not the goal. The goal is to get these guys the exposure that they deserve. For Get Mauled, I try to bring in some of the guys that I really respect. Obviously having Tony there and Evan there last year was huge. Yeah. There's Dearborn's coach.
You spoke highly of him. Yeah.
Oh man,
I saw him at the McDonald's afterwards.
Yeah,
the kids were getting some food there.
And they've struggled this year, but he's special. He's gonna be a college guy. He played at Michigan State. He's such a nice guy. Yeah. And just so
he was social in the time I saw him.
Oh, he's such a good guy. Mike Wilford, who I played with the Thunder, he's an outstanding offensive line coach. I mean, he was All-American at Grand Valley, 2-time he played at Nebraska. How did you guys? I mean, did you guys feel that the coach? Did you learn something? I mean, just even if you guys learned just something small, it's worth it because of the work and then of course these guys, they take over camps, especially something like that. They run it. Yeah. So that's gonna be different. I having like him and him there who just, you expect them. Mm-hmm. Where's Miguel? Where's Carl? Yeah. That's gonna be weird. Yeah. But
what'd you guys think of the camp?
It's fun. It was fun. I think it is. So it's just more time to work on yourself and hang out with your fellow O-line and kind of just get more comfortable with each other and start to build up the mentality that I'm better than them, because you're out there working with them and you see how they do it and what they do, and you're like, I can do that better. I'm better than him. I do this better than him and all that. So you just start to build up that mentality of just the Big Red mentality, how I think of it, You,
Carl?
I feel like it's like it shows it shows you who's better, it's just a dog fight. It just shows who's the best O-line in the state. Having them camps just shows you all the skill can have 7-on-7s, but I feel like the big man camps are it shows you what type of person you are for real.
I like the competition part of it, like you guys have. Gets intense, but then there's the teaching part of it too.
That was a big thing with that. Me and John are super competitive with each other, just because he's a defensive guy. Yeah. And Coach Garrett's my guy, man, and he's an old lineman through and through. through and through. And, watching these guys compete, this year was obviously the talent was better than it's been, like way better than it's been in the past. And I've already gotten a ton of phone calls from teams that want to join next year. Like, West Catholic, they were like, we're in. Gladwin, they're going to come. I mean, there's some, Belleville's wanted to come to it, but then they had.
Well, that's what's cool. I mean, you played at Muskegon Catholic Central, so people who don't really know, Gladwin, who are they? But yeah, they won the state title last year, and they were really good up front.
Really good up front.
And but if you can play, you can play, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what division.
Yeah,
it's tougher, obviously, generally as you climb up the divisions. But if a team can play, they can play, right?
Well, yeah. Like the battles that these two have had with Jamal, from what I mean.
Oh yeah. And I was going to bring that up to Whitehall.
Like the one
with Jamar Hill. Yeah.
Like, and then the young man, who's the other the defensive end that's really good
for Whitehall. Is he the one that got injured or no?
No, not Wyatt.
So there's there's Everett Napier. He's an outside linebacker, but it's God, what am
I always forget his name. If you walked in there, I know his face. But
yeah, he's the bigger kid, right?
Yeah, they had a good. I mean, that's iron and sharpen iron, and
Caden Waller, maybe.
Caden Waller.
He's kind of bigger kid, kind of.
Yeah. There's.
He's number 73 for them, but he probably wasn't wearing that jersey number then. But yeah, he's a big kid. He's probably about 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, I definitely think he's a Matt kid, a 3 technique kind of kid.
Mm-hmm.
Veer camp in Montrose is intense.
Yeah.
And it's just it's so that those days that tests you mentally a lot because it's so hot. Mm-hmm. It's rep after rep after rep after rep, and it's just dusty, and that's the way it's designed to be. Obviously, I wanted to get Muled to be a challenge, but I wanted them to learn something too. Bringing in a referee that will explain to them, this is what I look for holding. This is what I look for this and that. I hope stuff like that is what I'm big on. Having Tony give some tip, having Coach Mustafa. Wilford is a plethora of knowledge when it comes to offensive line techniques, and he's one of the best I've ever played with. I'd like to see Mike get his shot.
Yeah, I've noticed too. You guys in the last couple of years have done more stuff with Whitehall too, and I think that's helped them too.
Oh,
you can see it with them.
I mean, Tony Sigmund's one of the greatest guys around, man. And he was so awesome, and he was super, super important to this year because I can't do it all by myself. Mm-hmm. And with John having his team, he's got to take care of his team because he brings his team up here, and then Coach has their stuff. Obviously, when I go help them out. But so Tony Sigmund and Scott Fedrosi were kind of they did so much that and as this gets bigger, you need more people to help you out, and otherwise, because I was crazy, like this and this. Scott and Tony were, man, we got it, bro, we got it, and thank God for those guys. Actually, the trophy come from right down here.
Oh, okay.
What's it, Trophy Center or something like that?
Okay, down here, down at Whitehall.
That's Luke Masty's father.
Oh, wow.
Family, yeah.
So what's cool, too, is another, not the same thing, but you guys have been doing this for a while, too, is the Marine Beach workout. Mm-hmm. Did you guys do that again this summer?
It wasn't this year.
Didn't have it?
It was a matter of timing up.
Did you guys get to experience it before, though?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I didn't think it was that bad. I think some people were just a little bit over dramatic about it, but I didn't feel.
Are you looking at Carl when you say that? Or?
Yeah, I'm looking at Carl as in everyone. But I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad because it's just all mental. Just the going in the cold water part and putting sand in your shorts and doing push-ups in the cold water like that. It's not physically challenging per se, but the fact that it's all in your head is what really intrigues me about it because I know I can do it. It's just the fact that am I going to do it, Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was a fun experience. I think it was my first time or my second time. It was one of the two, but it was a fun experience. Just I'm a beach guy, so I like the water. And so just like
43 degrees.
Yeah, it was the water. It was cold. It was cold. I can admit, but like doing the push-ups and it was just real team bonding. It was fun though.
You guys been over to the deck since they keep adding on to it? What do you guys think of that?
I haven't been there in a year or two, but it's getting too expensive for me. You know, I'm not the richest fella, so I like to keep my food as cheap and plentiful as I can. And they're serving.
Don't have a dollar menu.
No, they don't. They have the $20 menu and drinks. And so I try to steer clear from places like that. But other local places like Dr. Rolf's,
Oh, yeah.
they can get my attention all they want.
Oh, yeah. You go with that? You've had both those or not? Dr.
I don't really. I don't go to the deck. I don't know. I'm just not an outside body. Like I like to stay in the house.
What about Dr. Ralph's? Have you had that?
No.
Oh, man, you're missing out, too.
That's good. That is good.
Some good stuff.
Yeah, have you been unruly and got pizza from it?
Oh, no, I haven't been there, no.
Well, there's one called Meat Sweats, right?
Yeah.
Just saying, bud.
Are you a Mr. Quick's guy or Lee's famous recipe or?
I try not to eat those too much. Like
You
sometimes,
know?
yeah, sometimes I get Mr. Quits just because it's just so simple. Like their burgers are just so simple. Yeah. Sometimes I get Lee's, but it's real greasy. I don't know. It makes me feel sick if I eat too much. So I try to stay
Not
away
on
from
game
that.
day.
So what's the best pizza in Muskegon?
Man.
If there's only one, then you only got
Scribs.
Probably Scribs.
That's a Big Red staple. Scribs. I like Scribs a lot. How can you? I grew up on the one over on Wolf Lake, over by Oak Ridge, because we lived in Ravenna. It was close.
I've heard people argue about which one's the best one.
They do taste different. If you might not
Get out of
believe it.
here with that.
They do. They taste different.
Really?
Maybe it's just me. I've heard
I
other
love
people say it though.
Yeah.
You know what else is good? Top Shelf's really good too.
Top Shelf is good. Coach Fairfield talks about Fricanos a lot.
That's good too.
I've never.
It's thin
Ernie
crust.
works at Fricanos.
Yeah, here's about Ernie, who's
My little brother works at
his
Fricanos.
little brother, 6'2". Or
But-
little Ernie.
It's all right. I've tried it too. But
I've never had a, like, is it really paper thin?
Yeah.
Pretty thin, yeah.
what
They don't
gets
put
me-
sauce in the pizza.
Yeah, they do, but it's probably
It's
burns
less.
off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so once it gets cold,
It's not
cheese
good.
turns to rubber. It just is
You gotta
as
bite it.
thin as that, and it's hard to enjoy. And even when you throw it in the microwave, it doesn't. The cheese don't melt. It just stays rubber. So I try to stay away from it.
I like, you like Fricanos?
I do.
Do you?
My wife does, and I do.
I love, that's probably my favorite food, pizza.
Wow.
Really? What's your favorite food, Carl?
I don't got no favorite place or food.
Then why are you critiquing me?
Fricanos though, out of all pizza places.
No, I've never had it.
Oh,
No, if Scribs is number one.
all right.
I said Scribs Friday night. It was a long night. I'm like, I'm going to treat myself. I'm getting Scribs on the way home.
I remember during when COVID was bad, the line for Scribbies was
Yeah.
like, oh man,
You guys usually hit up the Laketon one probably, right? Because that's
Yeah.
closest. Yeah.
yeah. You guys get Scribs this week, don't you?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
I don't know. Whatever Carl says.
yeah,
That's what.
He has
As
the,
you can
the
tell-
pizza countdown in his head.
yeah. Miguel is a simple man. And he's very like
He drives a pretty
throwback.
sweet Jeep, though.
Yeah, it's my
Nice
mom's.
Jeep. Nice. You didn't have to say that.
You should show him the truck. This truck he's got is so Miguel.
Well, yeah, it's a 1991 Chevy S10, and I'm trying to experiment.
You know that song by Johnny Cash, One Piece at a Time?
Yeah. That's him.
Right? It's got 5,000 parts. It's Miguel.
Yeah.
It's Miguel.
So I didn't ask you guys about this yet, but and this is way doing a 180 here. What are your college prospects?
Like, who's looking at me?
Yep.
So I have an offer from Eastern Michigan, Wayne State, Ferris State, Grand Valley State University, Saginaw Valley, and Madonna State, or just Madonna, and then I think that might be it.
Oh, that's good. What about you, Carl?
I got Ferris State, Wayne State, Grand Valley State, Madonna, Community College, and Lawrence Tech.
It's good having those options, and Division II is really good around here. In this state, it's really good.
I'm gonna probably make people upset, but how these two have been recruited is I think it's a travesty. They're both D1 kids, and I'm not sitting here and say that they're Georgia and Alabama. In my heart they are, but how Central and Western and those guys have passed them over. It blows my mind. Because in head-to-head competition, these guys went to camps and they've just mollywopped some kids, and you're just like, well, it's pretty clear. Academically, what are you, 394, 395?
Cumulative?
Yeah. I mean, all the boxes are checked there, right? Carl is completely qualified. What more do they got to do? I mean, he started 32? It'll be 32 Friday, right? I believe so. 32 Friday, straight games.
Yeah.
He has missed one play in his high school career, and that's because your helmet.
Yeah, my helmet came off against Shores last year.
And you were madder than you were, and that just tells you the kind of person that he is. And he's, and Carl's is you're at 20-something games, right? I was just doing the numbers the other day. What more they got to prove?
Yeah.
Their tape proves it. Their measurables are we're taking at Central, correct? They're certified. They're coached by the best coaching staff in the state. They're I don't know. I guess I don't understand recruiting no more. We've had plenty of guys in the past that, if they were just an inch taller, if this or that, never stopped coaching some offering. Look at Brady Rose.
No, just
look at Caleb Pimpleton.
You can't measure that.
Different positions,
but still.
But you're telling me because Miguel's 6'4", not 6'5", that this other guy
maybe a poor example, but Aaron Donald's not that tall.
Huh.
He's a beast, but still
a gift of God.
Yeah.
I'm not no Aaron Donald.
No, I'm not saying, but still, I mean, you can't measure it all by height and weight.
If they knew the growth that these both these kids have come, especially him, never playing before. I think Carl's got a lot of natural talent. Miguel is such a worker, and he's so driven that it inspires other people. I mean, what he has done for Jim Harris, but that's what we expected for you, right? You knew as a senior that you weren't, you and DeAndre were close, and Jim had to step into some big shoes, and he's playing. He had 19 clips on his highlight tape from the Shores game. Now, obviously, I had to cut some of those out, but I mean, there was 19 plays that were like, wow, and
for Jim,
that
sounds like a
big Jim
insurance. I can say this maybe insurance agent's name, Jim Harris.
Jim Harris Jr.
Right, I remember him from Media Day. Yeah.
Oh my!
When I hear Jim, I think of some backwoods country dude that wears overalls with one undone.
Oh yeah.
Walks around.
Yeah, boss. Off of.
Hey, boss.
Yeah, he's a really cool kid, and I've only had to give him a couple butt chewings a couple times. I didn't give it to him that bad.
He needed them anyways. It doesn't matter.
But from the Rockford game till now, he's two different players, and everybody questions. Oh man, maybe he shouldn't be the guy. Maybe he's not the guy. Let this play out. We've done this 100 times.
Right. Just trust us.
Yep. Because Miguel really never had. There was never a bad game where everybody was like, "Oh, Miguel can't play." And Carl, he had a rough one. Just let Carl be. They're young. Let them be.
Let them grow.
And that's always worked out for us. So.
Well, we could have talked another hour. We're up to our hour now, but we could have gone on another hour easily.
That was an hour.
Yeah, it was an hour already. Goes quickly on the podcast. So, but I want to give you guys the floor. Any parting shots? Maybe not that. Closing thoughts. How about that?
Yeah, you opened up a can of worms at that
Parting
one.
shots, that might open up some stuff, but closing thoughts before we sign off on this podcast.
Thank you for inviting us out here and choosing us to do this. It's a real honor.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
on. Yeah, you're welcome. What about you?
Appreciate it, but we have a long history together. I think you're the best.
Thank you.
It was I didn't like seeing you leave, but obviously this is pretty awesome here.
Yeah, I'll give you a tour afterwards. But yeah, it was family related, a lot of it, just to be closer. But I got to be honest, I'm still working a lot of hours, but trying to fix that. But still doing what I love, though. We're doing some cool stuff. So
there were some days, remember, I'd see you and you were like, we were going through a playoff push, and we were both looking like our bags were like,
yeah. But it was cool just being around you guys, and it always is just being around you guys and having that front row seat and just being able to be like that close to the program is a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade that for anything. That was a lot of fun.
That story you did, the big piece that you did.
Oh yeah.
That was wow.
Thank you.
That was.
Well, we're trying to kind of get back into the Muskegon area again. We do a lot of Westminster Conference stuff, but we're doing that. But we're trying to kind of branch off back into the Muskegon area.
Cool.
Maybe Grand Rapids beyond that.
Has Coach Eagle been on here yet?
He hasn't been in here yet. I saw him Friday I covered part of the North Muskegon Urbana game.
They play.
They play him tough.
18-9, right?
18-7, yeah.
So is North Muskegon legit?
They're pretty good, but
I know the quarterback's really good.
Their quarterback's good. They need to. They needed that kind of game. They need to be able to run the ball because you're going to have those sloppy games, kind of like your snow game last year.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for that one too. It was freezing, but I went over to Greenville for that one.
Was that one of the funnest games you played in?
I think, yes, it was. It was one of the best games I think I've ever played in. Friday night was cold, but I'll probably take the snow over the rain anytime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
The moment that sticks with me in that game was that Piggy? They caught the one and slid across the end zone?
Yes.
How special is that to me?
Man, dude, that was so cool.
That was awesome. That was an awesome moment.
It felt like to us because, what happened in 20, there were some questionable calls, at Lansing Catholic. You remember that? And for the way that these guys played, I mean, as a unit, they were the best offensive line in America. I'm telling you, it was unreal what they were doing. And then for obviously Nakai to play the way he did, and then Destin and Jake, and there was a turnover. Just the defense played really good, and the stars aligned.
You guys played really well.
I can go on and on about that game if I wanted to. It was just too fun. It was just a game you can remember.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What'd you think about Ford Field?
For the experience, it was fun. It wasn't hot like he said it was.
Dude. It was hot.
It was hot.
It was hot, dude. I was downplaying it too. And then I walked out there and I'm walking down the sideline. I'm like, damn.
We all had those. We had those new coats on, and I was like, man, we kind of picked the wrong thing to wear here.
Yeah.
And a lot of coaches, how many times you been there? But last year was warm.
How crazy is it too to see Dante Moore doing what he's doing now, starting at UCLA?
He's tearing it. I mean, he's so special.
He's got that, just sidearm. All different arm angles he can throw from. Yeah.
I can honestly, after the state finals game, I didn't like when people said his name, but honestly, if you look back at it, you just gotta give him his respect because he is one of the top QBs in the nation.
He's good, and he seems classy, like a classy kid
really
too.
Cool. Me and Coach Rossi walked out, and he walked. We kind of met, and I told him, I said, amazing career, great. Wish you nothing but the best.
Mm-hmm.
And after you just watch him play, you're like, man, but he didn't have no pads on or nothing, and he was kind of walked. It was kind of. I'm like, man, that's the number one player in the country. Right there.
Yeah.
And now I look at him, and he's got in the college weight room and stuff. You can definitely tell he's good. He's good. He's gonna be a high NFL draft pick.
Yeah, that's awesome. No,
that young man from Belleville's pretty good too.
Oh my gosh, he's talented.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's a dude.
He's
and a half. All right, well, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to shout out to our sponsors again real quick. Big Stone Therapies, Rescue 2.0 LLC, Grieve Law, Edward Jones with financial advisor Brett Adkins, Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt with David Dusenberry, Farm Bureau Insurance with the Kenny Agency, 5-Star Real Estate Leaders with Matt Parker, the Birdhouse, Scheid Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, Greener Jewelry with Chris Deichman, Sarah Real. Special thank you to our title sponsor, Chris Wank Real Estate of Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt. Thanks again to Carl Brooks and Miguel Bateo and Coach Matt Bolles, or we'll just call him Bolles.
Hey, so what's your nickname?
Big Carl.
What do I
Oh,
call you?
Lenny Brooks.
What's that?
I call
thought they called you Miggy.
Miggy.
Yeah.
Like what you call Miggy. Hey, that's one thing I want to say too.
Yeah.
We got, I'm not the only guy that coaches offensive line. So, Coach Ryan Pischke is on staff now for his second year. Amazing offensive mind. We've become a lot closer. And then this year we got Coach Devin Selman, who played at Michigan State.
Yep.
He's
Remember that name?
full of loud energy. He's an O-line, D-line guy. I'm starting to think he's partial to D-line a little bit. But, he's an outstanding coach, outstanding teacher, father. Same with Coach Pischke. He's got 2 beautiful little girls, and those guys are great. And Coach Poole does a great job with the tight ends, and he's Poole.
Is it Dr. Poole now, the author?
Yeah. Go buy 99 cents. What is it on Kindle?
Yeah.
Right. Amazon. Or you go buy his book, you get free juice.
That's worth it. That's more than worth the price of the book. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Best wishes to you guys. Great to see you guys rolling now. You got your senior night, 500th game at Hackley Stadium Friday against Grand Rapids Union. Then at Wyoming Week 9, and then let's see what the playoffs bring. But best wishes to you guys. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Scott, thank you.
Yep.